The Rise from the Ashes, Day 3 Ladder Trial. Let's see. 12:14 p.m. District Court, room number 9. Court will now reconvene for the trial of Ms. Lava Sky. Emma didn't come back. Allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room the day of the crime. And he just chugs away at his flask. Witness, state your name and occupation. Me, partner? Well, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization.
God damn. Forgot how redneck he sounds. Or you make him sound.
I know. Occasionally helping the elderly cross the sections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you hear the howling wind call it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described it that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You're in charge of guarding the evidence room the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up.
Desperado. No, you don't want nada. This brother running, this brother.
Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Yes, Judge. Please share us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. What the heck? Why isn't my chat working? There we go. My job is to keep a wary eye on that bone orchid. Bone orchid or an orchard? I think it's orchard. They said I was
orchard.
Yeah, they said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at that street side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time to hit the trail. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. I can't say I particularly care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining.
Ooh.
He just said that to the judge. Wait a minute.
Well, judge is a yabba dabba dipshit.
Sometimes. What do you mean by 2 security systems? Oh man, the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes. Well, the fingerprint activated locks on the what about the fingerprint locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint active locks? What kind of newfangled doohickeys are those?
Why do you make everyone sound so... You offend so many different cultures. You're digging yourself a deeper hole each time.
He's not being very helpful.
Listen, but you're making him sound like he's a flat-out dumbass.
I think it's because he has that front on. He's putting on that front, so I'm making him sound like he's putting on that front. He's he's not that good with machines or following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses. Now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Day of the crime. You wanted to keep an eye out. Hold it. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the camera. The security camera monitor. That room is so still. Even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who entered the recordings. You entered them? These are aren't nothing useful. When the time would come, I erased the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I erased the tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but he isn't good at doing himself. But is he going to do himself any good? So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. Let's press this one. But you made rounds the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I say, partner? I told you, that ain't my style. I'm afraid I don't understand. Phoenix, come on. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime, just between you and me, I didn't set a foot in the evidence room that day. There was a rubber glove stuck in the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? You used to be a detective, so you used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a gold mine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works.
That's sad.
That's, quite, incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It is well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Okay. Now that he mentioned it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. At any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? The Street Side Saloon. What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating
I've
spaghetti.
got an answer for you. Spaghetti! No, you were drinking your ass out.
Not even the Angel Steak lunches can beat that parlor's pasta. You mean to tell us you abandoned your police duties to eat some noodles?
Listen, pasta's dope and all, but have you ever heard of noodles? Have you ever heard of drugs?
Not all desperados eat tacos, partner.
What?
That's not what I meant. I hope this
Are
has
you?
at least taught you
You
a
abandon
lesson.
your position for food.
That's strange. Usually this
Kinda.
is where Edgeworth says,
Objection.
do you not want to raise this year? Objection, do you not want to raise this year? I'm an innocent man traveling. If you're out of ammo, the time to hit the trail. What? Out of ammo, Officer Marshall? Yeah, that's my partner. Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, then you better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west to the sunset. One thing seems clear.
This boy makes me want to gouge out my own eyeballs.
Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Before I use it, I better up the ante. What do I have? Let's see. Hang on a second, I need to look at something here. Let's see, what do I... I need to think critically on this. I need to look at these files. Let's see, incident to SL9, it's closed. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Crime serial murder. Sentence death. The victims were Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss.
Jason Nike.
Jason Knight. Wait, Neil Marsh? Wait, is there any relation to the current marshal we have on the stand? Head prosecutor, Miles Edgeworth. Witnesses, Lana Skye and Emma Skye. Wait, so the sisters were a witness to the murder. Yeah, let's see here. Hey, kitty. Nice to see you're off early. Let's see. Information Task Force. Executive Investigators Damon Gant and Lana Skye. Head Investigator Bruce Goodman. Then got regular investigators Jake Marshall and Angel Starr.
I guess I don't have to pick up Antalisa and Emma. I got a text from Antalisa saying that she's getting a ride home from... They're getting a ride home from someone else.
Yeah. Oh, wait. My job was... Let's see.
Yeah, I get to relax then.
True.
Go.
I think I might press this. Oh, snap, I did the wrong one, I think. This is a clear contradiction. What has this related? Snap.
Okay, I guess I gotta still pick her up at 2:45 or 3 o'clock, 3:15. Oh, Emma wants to go. It's a field trip, and Emma wants to go back to school after it.
Okay.
I know, right? Like, why would she want to go back to school?
I don't know.
What kid would want to go back to school? Me and my sister right now are dumbfounded. Babe.
Okay. Let's try that again. I think I have to press one of these. What the? What am I? What? How? What? Oh, come on. Maybe it's this one here?
Don't shave on the witness stand.
This guy is weird. He shaves whenever he wants. There we go. Officer Marshall. Doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called to testify like this. Dots. After all, you weren't in the security room at the
And
time of
guzzles
the
booze.
crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind the scene. Or, to be exact, a handprint. At least I'm really good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects. That's it. I make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what is the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the scene of the crime. The blood was wiped away. However, this luminal test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall, stop shaving on the witness stand. It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. What?
LOL.
I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall, about the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints.
It's shrimp night.
Shrimp night? Why is it shrimp night, Kitty?
Because maybe Kitty has it like Taco Tuesdays for people, but it's Shrimp Night Fridays.
Let's see here. Let's see here. Around the scene of the crime, okay. Bloodstained fingerprints. Like I said, it's only natural my
Gonna
fingerprints
eat
would be
some
in the
water
evidence
bugs,
room.
yum.
Then why were they covered in blood, dog?
True. One of them just happened to be at the same place as that blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker with where my fingerprint was by chance. The blood stain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or you didn't think the or didn't you know that the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it.
Gleaves? Did you just say gleaves? Babe.
No! No!
Okay. I'm gonna be like, I am buried as
I
the
don't even know what
Goliath
that
say in
is!
Borderlands. Gloves, you screwed up and said glivs?
No, I said gloves, not glivs. The witness explanation appears valid. Yeah, but that would have to be a very big if. Although there is room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner.
Can you just shut up, frickin' Jesse McCree looking ass motherfucking Pikachu?
They even had the same initials, you know this. Jake Marshall and Jesse McCree.
I can understand my
Oh my gosh, Muffin, are you gonna be okay? Muffin.
I gotta take a deep breath.
Okay. The
I just
vent
realized
may
I will
now
never
cross the
fucking
salmon.
escape Overwatch.
The sky is hiding something, I can feel it. Now's my chance to prove it.
So, sorry chat for ear raping you.
It sounded slightly muffled when you were doing that, at least for me it
Yeah, because I
was.
shoved my hands
Did
in
you
my
know
face.
lobsters are bugs?
What? Did you say lobsters or mobsters? No, lobsters. Lobsters are apparently bugs.
I mean, they're sea bugs.
Kind of reminds me of what an Animal Crossing villager said when they were in the insect department of the museum. Insects are like the lobsters on the land. I wonder if they taste good with melted butter. I think that was Chester who
Delicious sea
said that
bugs.
too.
He's a drug addict.
He's a baby. He's just a little baby bear. That's because how did you put it? Pay your respects once a month?
I gotta go get my food. I'll be back.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happened to be mine. What? What did you mean? I mean what I said. That locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now is a
I
heap
bet
of
the
broken
ancient
dreams.
giant centipedes tasted like lobster.
I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently, his fingerprint data was never removed from the locker's programming. He must have been using that fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Okay. Alright.
Did you lobsters used to be shunned as a poor man's dinner?
Really? So then, what about this bloody handprint? Wasn't mine, it's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happens. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. Chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. The chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1.
I'm back.
Nice.
I got pizza.
Get 160.
Too
Yay! You ain't
Didn't
getting
wanna
no
leave you.
reward from me. I know. You wanna know why? The bloods. How are the bloodstain and fingerprint unrelated, dude? Unrelated? How do you figure that? They're as different
Onion
as 9
related.
days. Onions?
Onion. Onion.
Kinda like cereal. And cereal. One's gotta do with breakfast, while the other one's type of murder. Or type of number. He's right, although seemingly alike, they're totally different. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this.
Oh, I love alien hominid.
Or did you not, or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How would you have known that?
I heard a guy opened up a cereal cafe.
The cereal cafe, why? I may be a loner, but I do my job. I keep up with on the reports. There was a blood stain at the scene, though it was left by the murderer. Thought to have been left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were
To
detected
make
on
bank,
that
of
handprint.
course.
Yeah, I think we've tried that too. So that would mean the murderer was wearing gloves. Happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's locker. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner?
Can you not make him sound like a douche?
He is a douche.
Yeah, but still,
That
it
picture?
just makes me want. It just makes me want to
Just pick up.
punch something.
You just want to throw Marshall out the window.
I need to switch controllers again.
Okay, the seal of blood in the desert is just food for the buzzards. What? Explain to me, dude. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. So long as my trail isn't there, you can't say otherwise. As my trail's there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please, consider carefully what you are doing with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall.
Marshall looks like Sheriff Hops from Anima Plus.
He looks like Sheriff Hops from what? Sheriff Hops from Anima Plus.
It's a manga, but it never got very popular.
Okay. Something decisive to tie Officer Marshall to this crime. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? Wait. Press this statement. What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, ain't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct
The
evidence I
concept was
have.
cool though, but the characters got old quick.
Oh no. But that video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Judge, come on. Places you can't see. The camera is panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you could show evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please show it now.
Hey, I thought the jester was broken.
I thought so too. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright, or you might wind up making the mistake. Now let's not have another look at the video. Okay. Show us the incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Fast forward. Guys, look at the far of this locker in this view here. Think circle is my pause? Yeah, circle is pause. Present. Bring our attention back to the security camera. It's a mistake I'm afraid you soon not forget, Officer Marshall. Days are short in Texas and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? You done goofed? You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in certain lockers shown in the video. That locker with the white cloth sticking out of it. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. It was not there before. Oh, the white cloth, it's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared that there was one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the scene of the crime. What's more, you opened the locker when the camera was turned away. Order, order, what's the meaning of this? Hold your horses. Sorry, partner, but you got the wrong man. So what if my locker was open? That doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. Dude, it opens via your fingerprints. The murderer needed to hide something, so he opened the locker and stuck it in. Not my fault that when he happened to do, he changed mind. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't playing dumb. He really doesn't know. I hate the rain on your parade, but you're the only person in particular who could open that locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker and I prove it. Oh, you know the fact that the locker only opens via your fingerprint? Fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. Lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. In any case, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't even know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Oh my gosh, he's chewing on beef jerky or something. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! Oh man, we got him on ropes. Order, order, order! Witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now please, tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Is he gonna continue to chew on that beef jerky? Alright, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? You know, the
I'm gonna
judge a
go
bullfighter.
put my
Okay,
food away.
alright. That's right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. We can? Have a look at these here floor plans. If there is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room, there is no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. If that is so, then where was the witness? It seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right, the only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? Maybe he was the victim himself. Officer Marshall is standing right here. There, but that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct, unless the man wasn't actually Detective Goodman. I believe the victim in this video is Officer Marshall. It was you dressed up like Detective Goodman. But that's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed a detective at the scene of the crime. Once he saw a man's face, he'd known it for sure. May I point out though that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman. He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes? And how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed to have entered the evidence room. So he must have been carrying it. The answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on this ID card. Oh, I get it. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Or do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? Oh no, not the beef jerky chewing. You got glowing imagination, partner. We got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence. Still denying it. He hadn't had to do better than that to bring a detective. Unless he got hard evidence proving I was dressed up as the victim. Well. Let's see. I can't say I particularly care for this uncooperative disposition. I can't say I care for your beer, but you don't hear me complaining. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence to prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall was dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. It seems like you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ugh, this can't be happening. It's so obvious he's the one. What can I do? Edgeworth, what are you doing? Looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. What? I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics? For me, that would be when Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside the box. I shouldn't look for the proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise, but rather I should look for the evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was opened in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open this locker at the scene of the crime. Yet he did, despite having it be Yet he did, despite there being a chance to be discovered later, as it has been. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman on the day of the crime. After the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. The fact that a white cloth was sticking out of his locker seems to indicate that. He opened it to put the cloth inside. So, what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to answer our questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. After committing the crime, the witness opened his locker and to put away a white cloth. Please show why the witness had to open his locker. Do, do, do.
His shoulder.
I need to get this at the right moment. There we go, I got the right angle. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though you did not know what end. You did not know what to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When he asked you to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. A bloody white coat? You couldn't just walk out like that, so you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. So then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now would we? Officer Marshall, Tell the court what you did. All of it. Alright. It seems the time has come. Ooh, this should be good. I had to do it just that day. I couldn't let it stand by and let it die. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expected Officer Meekins, so I knocked him out. I managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. Wait, wasn't there blood right by that area too? So I suppose the victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess he was the donor. Okay. It must have been too much. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. I should probably save just in case. I'm so close to failing this if I take too many hits. Alright, let's press. Okay, let's press the first one. When you say it, do you mean... Do you even have to ask, partner? Yes, the line incident. 2 years have passed since that case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it.
It's obvious Officer Marshall is guilty.
I know, right? That incident's not over. But what did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, the case's lead detective could only look through the evidence. I went to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? Phoenix? You kind of already know why he cares a little bit about this. Because one of the victims he knew. Neil Marshall was somebody he knew. That day was my last chance. That's why Let's see. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? If I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal, I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole
Does
that
Officer
morning
ever
of the
say his first name?
So that really was why Goodman started filling out the lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor of the prosecutor's office parking lot. The ID card was left by Officer Marshall. So, essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could have, but he could because of a rubber glove just happened to be stuck in the door. That means Officer Goodman must have opened his locker before Officer Marshall. Wasn't special. Why did you... Seriously. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a one-of-a-million type person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding he be shown his ID. I had to think a little more about his raise next year. When did Edgeworth get to be this so much influence? Yeah. Anyway, he threw himself at me and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry, but I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? The one you're using to shave yourself? I don't know what to say. So, you knocked out Officer Meekins and managed to escape. I knew which areas. Okay. So, you did your research beforehand. Those who go in the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make much of a difference, though. Security tape is erased everything in 6 hours. If all... Why do I feel so weird? If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, your blooded coat, you bled on your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and dashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing at this time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So, what you're saying is, on that day... But the blood found at the scene clearly indicates a crime took place. What are you, blind? The victim shown in the tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker. Actually, no I didn't. Why not? When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. What? Mr. Edgeworth, where is that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Why did you do this? Stealing the detective's ID, injuring a police officer. This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This would have serious consequences. It can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are ever a valid solution. Well, Marshall? Like I said, this isn't your case. This one's mine. And I'll do everything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. When this is an unusual amount of zeal, let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? No, tell me. But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. And it involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's why I'm trying to find out. What? Dude? Just spit it out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with a reason he thinks it is. I feel like he'll wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved is related in some way. I better take another look at these files. Alright. Now let's present him with the incident files. Officer Marshall, I think I understand. I think I know why you care so much about the SL9 incident. Sounds like you've been sipping too much cactus juice, partner. I have the SL9 incident file here. The name Marshall is mentioned here. In the list of murder victims. Neil Marshall. Are you related to this man? Neil Marshall? Yeah, I'm sure you heard that name. 2 years ago. He received the same lousy prosecutor award you got. What? Prosecutor? He was a prosecutor? Okay. He must be talking about the King of Prosecutors or awards. Now I remember. Prosecutor Neil Marshall. He handled the SL9 case before. I did. That's right. He was killed. And the case fell into your hands. What's his relation to you? He was my brother. Aww. I was investigating the murder with Damon Gant, the deputy chief of police. The group of detective was I and part of working under them. We were desperate to prosecute the killer. Joe Dark. My brother fought Dark and was killed. That's the first time Dark left behind any evidence. That was all we needed. He was arraigned. And was incarcerated. The case is finally closed. At least, according to the public records. What do you mean? My brother couldn't have been killed by Joe Dark. I knew my brother better than before. No one could have beaten him in a fight. And that's it. That's the reason for your insane actions. It's more to my brother's death than the records say. No matter how much you try to hide it, you can't fool me. Well, at least one thing's for certain. You now know what happened to the police department on the day of the crime. That was the last day of the SL9 case could be reopened. Not satisfied with this resolution, Officer Marshall planned to steal the evidence. Disguising himself as Detective Goodman, he entered the evidence room. Officer Meekins confronted him, so he rendered him unconscious and fled. Yes, this mystery has finally been cleared up. No murder took place, at least at the police department that day. Things that happened by chance never cease to amaze. At that exact same time the murder at the prosecutor's office, the fake murder was going on at the police department. By chance it's gotta be more than just that. So, if no one was murdered at the police department on the day of the crime, that means the murder of the prosecutor was the real one. Which in turn means only one person could have committed the crime. Chief Prosecutor Lana Skye. But wait, a verdict wasn't even reached in yesterday's trial. Which is why we examined the incident at the police department today. But there's only one reason the defendant was not convicted yesterday. There yet remained the mystery of a simultaneous murder at the police department. Seems to be. This boy's got the draw on you, partner. All of the mysteries at the police department have been resolved. No doubt about it. Our sole murder took place at the prosecutor's office, and the only suspect is Lana Skye. The testimony of one Miss Angel Star is completely consistent. Okay. Do you have a response? Make it a single word or less. I rest my case. Well, it seems that this trial has reached its conclusion. There's no room for doubt. Well done, Mr. Wright. Thanks to you, I didn't need to waste my time. Disproving the alleged murder at the police department. There's no doubt what I proved today is true. The apparent murder on the security tape was really fake. But I didn't realize that would end up proving Lana guilty. Now then, time for the verdict is right. The court finds the defendant. Hold it! Your Honor, wait. It's Emma, you're back! Emma. The defense hasn't objected. A scientific objection. Right? What do you mean, right? Mr. Wright. Are you this girl's guardian? Your Honor? Sense. Please, Your Honor, I'm asking for a minute of your time. Please hear me out. Mr. Edgeworth, please. I don't want to leave any loose ends. You want a minute? I'll give you 3. Oh, I was kinda in shock. I mean, finding the SL9 incident referred to the Joe Dark killings. Now that she mentions it, the names of both the Sky Sisters were in this file. But that's when I figured it out. I mean, what Officer Marshall was trying to do on that day. So he knew his fingerprint had nothing to do with the crime. But that only left one thing, another handprint. You mean the traces of blood found on Detective Gumshoe's locker? But no fingerprints were found on it, right? No, but I figured if I examined it scientifically, I'm sure to find a clue. So I ran over there and looked at it again. So, did you find something? No. Huh? Sorry, I guess I'm not much of a scientific investigator after all. Oh, is that all? Please don't be mad. I'm just a high school student. And I'm just an attorney. But Mr. Wright, those traces of blood are the only clue we have. If we can't find something wrong with them... Please, Mr. Wright, you're a professional. If anyone can save Lana, it's you. Me? Oh boy. Time's up. Now then, Mr. Wright. With regarding the incident at the police department, does any reasonable doubt remain? It appears that the fence is troubled by the other blood marks. Looking at the floor plans, a handprint was discovered around here. Is there a problem with this? Mr. Wright, I'm sorry I can't be more of use. But still, if you can find anything wrong with with that blood mark, Lana will be... Please answer the question, Mr. Wright. We don't have all day. Yes, Your Honor. If I ever needed to concentrate, it's now. What could be wrong with the handprint on Gumshoe's locker? Could something be missing?
Hi.
Hi.
Okay.
What's going on?
Not much, just...
Yeah, I think there's something wrong. Because the locker, wasn't that where that dancing thing was? No, wasn't it where this thing was here? This handprint left at the scene of the crime clearly shows a contradiction.
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Okay. The only thing that seems to be clear is you grasping, Mr. Wright. You've been staring pretty intent for those floor plans. Tell me, what's the problem with them? Yes, this is strange. Take a look at these floor plans. Something is missing. Missing? What do you mean? Something hasn't been drawn in there? Yes. Something that when drawn would completely change the meaning of the blood mark. then let us pray the defense isn't simply trying to buy time. Very well, Mr. Wright. With all this evidence here, there's gotta be something I can use. The question, which item could prove about the missing floor plans? This thing. What about that piece of plywood? The Blue Badger, the mascot of the police force. Defender of truth, guardian of proof. Explain yourself, Mr. Wright. Please look at the floor plans of the crime scene. The Blue Badger is not here. So watch what happens when we put him in there. This is where he was dancing at the scene of the crime. Well, what? Gah! That's right. So long as the Blue Badger is dancing here, it would be impossible to place a handprint on the spot of the locker. What? So this means, just exactly what does this mean? It means it can't be done. What are you saying? Blood traces were undeniably found on that locker. Don't look at me like I didn't put that. Mr. Wright, think through scientifically. Emma. On that afternoon, Officer Meekins was the one who brought the Blue Badger into the evidence room, right? So, after he put it down, it would have been impossible to leave a handprint on that locker. So that means this blood mark was left before the Blue Badger was brought in? Just a moment. We will not allow such far-fetched balderdash in my courtroom. It may sound far-fetched, Your Honor, but it's the only possible explanation. On February 21st, in the police department's evidence room, the blood was spilled not once, but twice. But how? One time was captured on this tape by the security camera. Officer Meekins cut his hand, which revealed a trivial amount of blood fell. The problem is, the other time, someone bled prior to the struggle shown on this tape. It had to have been. It had to have been. Detective Goodman when he was really murdered. That's ridiculous. I refuse to accept your absurd claim. The murder portrayed in the security tape has been proven to be fake. However, that does not explain the blood mark found on this locker. So then, assuming this murder you purport is really happened, when did it take place? I demand you show evidence that proves when it occurred. When did the first incident occur? To summarize, the defense claims that prior to Officer Meekins being cut by Jake Marshall, who was posing as Detective Goodman, another incident took place in that evidence room. That's right. The blood mark on this locker proves it. Very well. Then tell us, when did this first incident occur, as Mr. Edgeworth said? Proof must be presented. Proof that shows when the murder took place. There's only one piece of evidence that could show that. Now then, will the defense please present its evidence? What shows... When was the first crime that took place? I want to look at this, actually. Maybe it was this one here? Probably this one here. The crime took place inside the evidence room when the killer would have entered it. In order to do so, the ID card would have been required. An ID card. Oh. The ID card record. Officer Meekins brought the blue badge into the evidence room at, let's see here, 4:50 p.m. If the crime took place before that, then it would be around 4:40 p.m. Miles Edgeworth, what have you done here? I never would have figured you'd had the nerve, boy. Drop the act, witness. It doesn't take a lot of thought to figure out it couldn't have been me. It could have been me. Nope, I ain't getting it. I'm afraid I don't understand either. It's clear from the luminal test that the blood was there. However, the second crime took place. Both Officer Meekins and Officer Marshall failed to notice the blood. That means the blood from the first crime was wiped away by the real murderer. I would have just been 10 minutes to the murder. Then the victim would have carried the body away. Then clean up the blood. Unfortunately, that's physically impossible. That would mean the crime must have been taking place before Edgeworth entered the evidence room. Look at this chart again. There's only one other person in the car remaining, and that's all the sevens in the world at 4:20 p.m. Talk about a lucky number. But wait, that doesn't make sense. How could Detective Goodman have entered the evidence room? There is no record of his card being used beforehand. He must have entered with the real murderer. That's the only plausible explanation. He went with all the sevens. Mr. Edgeworth, please look into this ASAP. Find out whose number is all these sevens. That's 1 7 too many, Your Honor. Fortunately, I'm unable to look up the owner of that ID card. At least, at present. Alright, what? Explain yourself, son. That number ID of 7777777 belongs to somebody with a rank of captain or higher. Somebody who is a so-called executive officer. We don't have the authority to inquire into such a person's identity. But that's ridiculous. Just how? I'm not finished talking, Mr. Wright. There is this one situation in which we can be granted such authority. If an official charge filed against an executive is accepted. An official charge? You're all alike, aren't you? With your cover-ups and your forgeries. That's how the prosecutor's office operates. I take pride in my work, Officer Marshall. I would appreciate if you would keep your slander to yourself. Slander isn't. Okay? Let me ask you a question. Yes? No, not you. Her, the defendant sitting over there. Your little own executive. Lana? Don't be stupid. She's being charged with murder. Of course we've locked her up. Of course we looked up her ID number and it's not 7777777. Don't play me for a fool, partner. That's not what I was going to ask. All I want to know is one thing about that incident. About the SL9 incident? Answer me this, Chief Prosecutor. That trial 2 years ago, did you really only use legitimate evidence? You need the witness to repeat his question, Chief Executive Prosecutor? Or Chief Prosecutor? I heard of thine, Mr. Edgeworth. 2 years ago. There was a charge in the prosecution for that trial. At the time, we felt powerless. We felt powerlessness of the law. At least I did. Lana? I became a prosecutor in order to suppress crime with the law. But before I realized it, we were the ones being suppressed by the law. Defendant, what are you saying? I ask you again, Chief Prosecutor. During that trial 2 years ago, did you really present all the evidence to the court? Can you look at an investigator in that crime in the eye and say you did? Chief Prosecutor, you didn't. I don't have to, Officer Marshall. Why won't you answer him? Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That's just the way it is. We did what we had to in order to get him the verdict he deserved. But Lana, even if it involved forging evidence. See? That's what I'm talking about. No! No! Order! 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 Lana's remark caused such a stir, the chaos in the courtroom could not be quilted. As concerns Charlie, you'd have to wait till the following day. I meant to save, but okay, game.
Hi.
Hi. I'm so sorry, Mr. Wright.
Hi. I was
Hi.
watching the trial.
That was interesting.
Well, at least someone finally caught on to their stupid shtick of lying. I hate to be that guy, but you can only forge evidence and keep it hidden up for so long.
I love how it was actually Marshall who brought that to the attention.
Yeah, because no one else is going to be like that.
So sorry, Mr. Wright. Sorry for what my sister said. Drastic crimes require drastic measures. That is the way it is. We did what we had to do in order to give him the verdict he deserved.
This bitch admitted to wanting to murder a man.
I didn't know. I never knew that the SL9 incident was just another name for the Joe Dark killings. Sounds like everyone heard about these killings but me. Lana wanted Dark convicted so badly. That's why she used me. That's why she used what happened to me. What? What do you mean, what happened to you?
I've gotta go feed the dogs. I'll be back.
Okay. It's all in the file here. Joe Dark's last victim was prosecutor Neil Marshall. He murdered Officer Marshall's brother. He left behind an incriminating piece of evidence. But what did you have to do with those killings, Emma? On the night prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered, Joe Dark tried to kill me. What? He tried to kill you? Officer Marshall's brother Neil was only trying to save me. So that means you... Yes. I was a witness in the Joe Dark trial. I didn't see that one coming. So, it happened 2 years ago. It was right around this time of year too. I was in a terrible thunderstorm that day. Unusual for the season. I was alone in my sister's office. We were planning to eat dinner together when she finished her work. Then suddenly, this terrifying man bursted into the office. Joe Dark. He seemed like he was running from someone. He pulled a knife and screamed at me. I didn't know what was going on. Then Prosecutor Marshall showed up. Jake Marshall's brother. Joe Dark tried to take me hostage. But before he could, Mr. Marshall tackled him. Then... what happened? I'll never forget it. Lightning struck and the lights went out. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning flashed outside the window, lighting up the office for an instant. What I saw was burned into a permanent picture in my mind. I still can see it now. Deirdre. A permanent picture? I don't remember the moment Dark stabbed Mr. Marshall. Hi, dearie. So, you weren't able to testify about that? No, I was only asked about when I was attacked. That must have been when Lana... That must have been why she made up the crime. Made it up? You mean she provided bogus evidence? The prosecutor's office wanted a guilty verdict so badly. Lana forged evidence and Mr. Edgeworth used it. Edgeworth? Yes. I'm sure he didn't know anything about it. He couldn't have known that he was being given false evidence. Even so, that's when it all started. The rumors about Mr. Edgeworth would be... It's all my fault. If I could have testified properly, none of this would have happened. So it's true. Even though he may not have known it. Edgeworth really was involved with falsifying evidence. After the case ended, Lana was never the same. She became cold like she is today. She must not have been able to face up to what she did, especially not to Emma. Let's talk about this picture. When did you see in the incident that crime? Oh, do you want one of your toys, Deirdre? There you go, baby. Dark narked Mr. Marshall and raised his knife. Neil Marshall was stabbed in the front of this poor girl. I don't remember what happened after that. Apparently I passed out. When I came to, Lana was cradling me in her arms. Poor Emma. I've been for so much. I couldn't bring myself to testify about that instant. I tried, but the words just wouldn't come out. I drew a picture, but it wasn't any good.
Emoji crying loudly.
2 years ago. You must have been 14. That's understandable. Once it was all over, I made up my mind. I decided that when I grew up, I would become a scientific investigator. I want to be able to fight crime with my testimonies. And find the evidence to make an airtight case. That way, Lana would never have to forge any. I see. I think I'm starting to understand what makes Emma tick. But there's still something that still bothers me about that crime. Oh. See, there's still something that's puzzling
I'm
me,
not
Emma.
doing that to make fun of her. I'm just.
I know.
Since that game, I had to feed the dogs and I had to fight off Cupcake from eating Toto's.
Dang it, Cupcake. Innocent. You said that you were in Lana's office that time, right? That's right. Why would a serial killer come running in there? Not only that, but he was being chased by a prosecutor. Oh, there's no mystery there. Joe Dirt had been taken in for questioning that day. Taken in for questioning, you mean by the police? Of course. This happened at the police department. He tried to run away halfway through the interview and fled to my sister's office. But why did he run all the way over to your sister's office? Because the detective's offices and the questioning room are right across from the elevator. Across from the elevator? But Lana was the chief prosecutor, wasn't she? No, silly. Didn't I tell you? 2 years ago, Lana was a detective. She was the best in the entire force. What? That's news to me. After that, the Joe Dark case, she was transferred to the prosecutor's office and named the chief prosecutor. Lana used to be a detective? I better have another talk with her.
Lana, you son of a bitch.
To Lana! Let's see. Lana! Mr. Wright, it seems I keep causing you trouble. Falsifying evidence. I didn't think you were the type. Criminals don't mind playing foul. Why should we? But Lana, if you're wrong, an innocent person might be found guilty. Believe me, I understand the risks. Lana, Emma told me about you. Oh? About how you were a detective 2 years ago. And how is the SL9 incident was the reason for your transfer to the prosecutor's office? That's right. Could you fill me on the details, especially about that unusual change of jobs? I suppose you have a right to know, Mr. Wright. Let's talk to her about this trial today. A lot of revelations were uncovered at the trial today. Not at least of which was the fact that this case is largely connected to another one 2 years ago. Evidence for that case was stolen as well, though I expected as much. I don't know how obsessive Officer Marshall could be. That trial, it really wasn't fair, was it? I believed in you, Lana. I believed that no matter what happened, you would always stick to the truth.
I mean, you
be
can't.
helped.
I can see where Lana is actually coming from once.
Mhm.
This man tried to kill my fucking family. If you try to hurt my family, fuck, you're dead.
It couldn't be helped, Emma. At least that 2 years ago, I sold my soul. Well, all drama aside, the fact of the matter is at 5:15 there was no murder at the police department. Tell me it's not true, Lana, what the witness, Miss Starr, said about you stabbing Mr. Goodman with a knife. Lana, I don't understand. Why won't you tell us? Emma, this doesn't involve just me. Don't think I've ever seen Lana look so phased before. Let's ask her about her as a detective. It's true. I was a member of the police force 2 years ago. She was amazing. They still talking about the case she and Chief Gant cracked together. Wait, Chief Gant? He was deputy chief of police back then, but he still worked with the crime scenes. Damon Gant. He was everything I aspired to be. They were the best team ever. They solved crimes before the reports could even be filled. Emma really idolizes her big sister. Aww. Now you're a chief prosecutor. What happened? I always planned on becoming a prosecutor. The reason I became a detective was to get experience investigating crime scenes, so you could use that experience in court, right? Probably should sit up straight. Gant's help in the SL9 case was crucial to its resolution. Okay. After that, he became chief of police and arranged my transfer to the prosecutor's office. Maybe I should ask more about this investigation of theirs 2 years ago. Let's ask about the investigation now. 2 years ago, I was second in command of the detectives investigating Dark. Second in command? That means that the investigation lead was Damon Gant, right? Yes. Despite Deputy Chief Gant and I shared the same office and the same investigations. Doggos!
They're just being annoying. I'm just gonna ignore them.
Okay. They even had the same office. We led a team of the best detectives on the force. Detective Goodman, whose case it was Jake Marshall and Angel Starr. It was the first time Marshall worked with his brother. He was quite gung-ho. Without a doubt, Joe Dark was the serial killer. We asked him to come in for questioning. We were desperate for evidence. It was when his final murder took place. When he tried to murder Emma. Prosecutor Marshall was trying to save me from Dark. You see, the first person who happened on the crime scene was me. Now you tell us? Tell us about the crime scene. Damon Gant and Neil Marshall were the ones questioning Dark that day. The investigation was in its final stages, and Dark must have suddenly panicked. So he waited until Gant and Marshall let their guards down and then fled the room. From there, he ran straight to the office shared by Deputy Chief Gant and myself. That's where he found me. You were the first person to run to the scene, Lana? It appears so. I was filling some papers while Gant and Marshall were questioning Dark. When I returned to my office, I saw 3 bodies on the floor and smelled blood. 3 bodies? Prosecutor Marshall, the victim, Emma, who had passed out, and the suspect, Joe Dark. During the struggle, it seems that Mr. Marshall snuck a final blow before he died. Joe Dark had incurred a minor concussion and laid unconscious. What did you do? To be honest, I panicked. I picked up Emma and carried her out of the room and just held her. I can't blame her. Her sister must have gone through all this stuff. After that, I placed Dark under immediate arrest. Let me get this straight. You were involved in the SL9 incident. That's right. It was quite a cool incident. I don't buy it. What are you saying? There is no way everyone involved in this trial is also involved in this incident. Just by chance. But that case was solved 2 years ago. At least one person went to extremes because they didn't believe that it was truly solved. Officer Marshall, yes. His actions came as a surprise to me as well. Ever since his brother died, he completely changed.
I mean, would you blame him?
No.
His brother is in the grave, and he feels like they lied to get a truthful. He would have been pissed either way, actually, now that I think about it. If he got away with it, he'd still be dead.
True.
Because Marshall would just find him and shoot him anyway.
I guess he was...
I'm not lying.
No, you're not.
Because he would have just... He's like, I know you fucking killed my brother.
Let's see. They're ruling against Joe Dark. Life doesn't end with the closing of a case. Everyone has to live the rest of their lives with their memories. That case might not be over yet. Emma was assaulted by Dark at the police department, right? Yes, in the office that Damon, Gant, and I shared. The office that Mr. Gant now occupies by himself, the chief's office. Maybe we should have a look at the chief's office, the site of the final SL9 murder. Alright, let's go to the station. I don't see Detective Gumshoe anywhere. Things are kind of quiet around here today. You're right. The chief of detectives seems the same, though. Why don't we go look for some other people to talk to? Right. We can come back here later. Anybody outside the entrance? Hey, Marshall. Howdy, Bambina. Oh, Mr. Marshall. Never thought things would turn out this way when I woke up this morning. I can't pronounce that because that's obviously very Spanish. You never know where life will lead you, eh, Bambina? I should have known my luck had run out when old Billy dried up this morning. Old Billy? Oh yeah, that's what he named his cactus. He must mean his pet cactus. Phoenix! Say, where you headed?
Yo, you don't have a pet cactus?
Just over to the prosecution officer, a little interrogation, okay. It's a voluntary appearance, but we all know that I won't be coming back. Sorry, but I can't go into the evidence room today, partner. But, Mr. Marshall, why did you do it? Why do prospectors head west? If ever there was a case I needed to know the truth about it, it was that one. Before you turn yourself in, Mr. Marshall, would you mind telling us exactly what happened? Looks like I won't be getting a steak lunch today. Do I have to bribe him with the shoe steak again? Is this what I have to do? You know what, I'm gonna go back to the office just in case Miss Star was thinking. I was almost ready to call her Miss Dust. No one's here today.
Why? Because her cooter's dusty down there?
No, because Angel Dust. No one's here today, not even Miss Star. Everyone's probably looking into what exactly went down in the evidence room. That must be where the detectives are. When we proved in court today, the day of the crime, no one was buried in the evidence room at 5:15 p.m. Yeah, I thought we were finally making some headway in our case. But instead, it looks like we just ended up making Lana look even more guilty. Hang in there, Lana. I gotta find all the answers by tomorrow. Let's see. Oh no, I wanted to use my. There we go. Thought I had this. This blood must be from when Lana. No, my sister isn't the murderer. But she did call you, didn't she? At least at the time of the crime. And her right hand is bandaged. Hey, whose side are you on? This has nothing to do with taking sides. So this means that Luana's hand had blood on it. This just keeps getting worse. Oh wait, no, I wanted to... I wanted to spray around, make sure I can find any other blood.
You have to read it exactly how it's written out. You always do that, baby. I honestly do not care less. Take a hint. Fucking trying to. That was not nice. This wasn't nice at all.
This blood, this is my sister's, right? It appears so. Luana's right hand was bandaged when I saw her in jail. She must have cut it herself at the time of the crime. Poor sis.
Yeah, I came out of the womb, instantly lost my virginity. Okay, main part, top definition.
Do I hear Deirdre crying out there?
No? Oh my god, we really do need to get him in English class. We don't use...
Mr. Edgeworth isn't here. Maybe he's being questioned by the inquiry committee? Looks like a real beating in court today. Yeah, with Luana admitting to falsifying evidence 2 years ago. I guess we'll just have to come back later. Oh my gosh, he's home. Oh no, I just left the office. I don't want to go back. Can we talk to him actually? Something's fishy about the trial from the beginning. It wasn't just me either. All the detectives thought so. What do you mean, fishy? Some of the facts reported were inconsistent with the evidence we found. For example, the murder weapon. Murder weapon? You mean the switchblade knife with the broken tip? That was Joe Dark's alright. But in the intentional autopsy report, a question was raised. A question? The blade of the knife was not a perfect match with the wound on the victim sustained. What does this mean? It means that it's a good chance that that knife was not the murder weapon. However, in the report was finally submitted, that possibility had been erased. Could the facts have been concealed with forged evidence? In that case, left behind scars on all of us. The scars of the SL9 incident left behind. Let's talk about Marshall, your brother. I got the looks, but he got the brains. He was one of the best prosecutors around. I had made detective when it went down. It was our first case together. Wait, how old was your brother? Because I think I can see it. Dang it, doesn't say. How old was he, your brother? He was 27 at the time. He was awarded the highest honor that very day. The highest honor? You mean the King of Prosecutors? I knew it! What are you looking at me like that for? It's an honor for a prosecutor. Mr. Marshall must really have been close to his brother. So the SL9 incident took place. That wasn't the same day as... That's right. That was the day of the evidence transferal. Interesting. It was drizzling that morning, and by nightfall there was thunder. I can't believe 2 years ago have gone by already. I tried to steal the evidence so the case wouldn't die. Apparently, someone tried to stop you. Detective Goodman was murdered and the evidence locker was empty. There is something going on behind the scenes with that case. We all knew that later. Hi! Every detective involved in the investigation stage 1 was taken care of. Miss Starr was fired and I was demoted and boxed away in a tiny room. What about Detective Goodman? If they did something to him too, the commissioners would get suspicious. No, they were careful enough to not be too obvious. They? Who are you talking about? Don't get upset, Bambina. I mean Damon and Lana. Wait, why would both of them do that?
Because they're involved.
I know. Though, the investigation need Damon Gant and his second-in-command, Lana Skye. There wasn't a person on the force who hadn't heard of that duo. The case was their biggest step in both of their careers. And after the case ended, Lana transferred to the prosecutor's office, right? Yeah. Damon Gant, the new chief of police, arranged that to happen. She'd never been the same since she left. Everyone knew her sides, though. Chief Prosecutor Skye was totally different when she was a detective. Now that you mentions it, Emma did say something like that, too. Tell me, what happened to my sister? Sorry, Bambina, but her secret is too well guarded. I never found out. Lana's secret. It all started 2 years ago. Oh, Deirdre.
I got a slag.
There you
I
have
have
it.
a gun called the Slag Kitten.
Oh my gosh. That's my story. Did you enjoy it, partner? It was certainly enlightening. There's one thing for certain I found down in court today. That Boar Edgeworth isn't my enemy. He wasn't the one who used falsified evidence to get the guilty verdict, but someone else was the one who gave him that evidence and planned everything. That someone is Damon Gant. Don't believe me? Well, I don't blame you. I won't even be a patrolman after today. And he just continues to chug away his flask. Too bad I won't be around to work with you now. When you become a real scientific investigator. Adios, Bambina. Aww. He's gone. Oh, I fixed something. Yes, something's changed over here, okay. This place always seems pretty empty, but today it's deserted. That must mean everyone's busy solving crimes. Oh, if you're looking for the others, you're in the conference room. Ah, thanks. Wow, he actually talked to us. The chief prosecutor saying what she did and the discussion were about what to do, about Mr. Edgeworth, not to mention our statement to the media in tomorrow's trial. There's more chaos going on than Thanksgiving and Christmas put together. I think festive is the word generally used for those. Sir, we'd like to have a look around Chief Gant's office. Just use the connecting hallway to the other building and take the elevator to the top floor. Really, you mean it's okay for us to go in there? I mean, we aren't police officers or anything. Oh, hey, you're right. You can't go up there. It's off limits. Now I see where Detective Gumshoe gets his where he gets his unique charm. Well, what are we waiting for? Let's head up to the chief's office. What the? Why is there just a giant pipe organ up here? Oh, look at this thing. It's ridiculous. Whoa. Where am I? In the chief's office, silly. At least that's what's on the door. Check out that pipe organ. That's real, isn't it? Hey, I used to take organ lessons in kindergarten. They used to call me Little Miss Bench. Little Miss Bench. I thought it was genius until just now. Oh my gosh. I never could remember where C was. Huh? Oh no, he's here. Oh, you two. Chief Gant. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. Oh, so right. Have you been swimming lately? No, I haven't. I've actually been kind of busy lately. I can appreciate that. I've had my hands full too with Mr. Marshall's misconduct and Lana's prerogative statement. Okay. Statement. Oh, you mean about the forged evidence? 2 years ago, 2 years have passed since that incident. How time flies. And that big picture over there. I see that big picture on the wall there? That's the picture of Lana, Neil, and me. So this is Mr. Marshall's brother, Prosecutor Neil Marshall. We took it to commemorate our work together. Something is not right with this picture. What, do you mean the trophy or that thing in the back there? I can't quite seem to put my finger on it. Anyway, I'd like to reminisce all day, but there's are matters that I need my attention. I'm going to lock up here, so let's go out together. Oh. But this office, it was a crime scene 2 years ago, wasn't it? That case is long since over. There's no need to investigate it anymore. All the same, we still like to look around. Perhaps you didn't hear me. I said there's no need to investigate it anymore. Now hurry up and get out. I have a meeting to attend.
Yes, I smoke 30 pounds of cocaine every night.
Looks like we're not welcome. It seems that case isn't over with yet after all. What do you mean? Chief Gant denied a request to search the crime scene. Which means that there must be a reason he doesn't want us looking around in there. You mean like a clue? There's gotta be a way we can get inside the chief's office. Gumshoe, where are you? We need you.
He's like Shaggy, he's the all-powerful being.
Gumshoe is the best. I love that man.
Oh, bitch, I bet you cheated! Why were you saying that? Was your side bitch like,
Hey, pal. Gumshoe! Aren't you supposed to be in a meeting? I'm, just taking a breather. My feet hurt. From sitting so long? Actually, from serving everyone coffee. Sounds like Detective Gumshoe's still out of the loop. Say, have either of you seen Mr. Edgeworth? Edgeworth? No? Why do you ask? He's under fire from both the police department and the prosecutor's office. It's almost like it's almost like the battles between you two in court. That sounds serious. Is it because of what my sister said? That's basically what it all boils down to. Had falsified evidence 2 years ago? Now Mr. Edgeworth has a whole world after his blood. Yikes. Aww. Edgeworth's crisis. But why would Edgeworth be blamed? It's not like he knew about the evidence was forged. Lana Skye is the guilty party here, isn't she? Regardless, the prosecutor is responsible for the evidence they present in court. Not only that, but as you know, there has been a lot of rumors going around about Mr. Edgeworth. His amazing talent has been the prosecutors kept him safe from all those who didn't like him. But now with this, are there really so many people who hate him? In our world, those with talent rise up to the top. Mr. Edgeworth only has that, but he's young. There's no better recipe I know of for making enemies. Hey Dick, keep up the good work. Yes, sir. Let's go out for lunch again sometime. My treat. Yes, sir. You gotta take me back to that joint sometime, okay, Dick? Yes, sir. It seems like you don't have any problems with enemies. Yeah, well, I'm careful not to stick out. Anyway, I'm a bit worried about him. Under all this pressure, I'm afraid Mr. Edgeworth might just crack. Think about SL9. Actually, I took a look at that file earlier while the coffee was brewing. He seems genuinely concerned for Edgeworth. Well, did you find out anything? The only evidence that Dark left behind was during his final attack. The final attack, you mean when he killed the prosecutor, Marshall, who is also trying to protect some girl. Me. It seems that Detective Gumshoe never realized Emma was the girl. That's when he left the most incriminating evidence of all. What was it? Let's see, I think it had something to do with the murder weapon. Oh, I forgot. Look at these. Look, it's written here somewhere here, okay? His powers of recollecting never fail to impress. Maybe we should show him the murder weapon. Maybe it'll jog his memory.
Sorry, but no. Why not? I'm not gonna get in any trouble, so what's wrong? Well, I mean, I don't actually believe you when you say you have permission. But also, I'm just not feeling it. Why do you want to talk?
Let's show him this jar here.
I don't know. I just don't. Are you gonna Skype, Jeff?
About that jar. I think I've seen it somewhere before. Somewhere? Or maybe it's one of those memories from previous lives. This must have been the most uninformed detective I've ever met.
Get out of Skyping me.
Something about this makes me feel uneasy.
What?
It's like I'm in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Chief Gantz? Where I could have just... Where could I have seen that before? Is that the same one in this picture? I think it might be.
One day you regret those things. I do talk to you though. We talked just the other day. Because one day I will be famous. I will not remember you. I will only remember you.
About this. Hey, that has the tag attachment level SL9 incident on it. I believe this would be the broken murder weapon you're speaking of.
You might as well hit the like button too. Let's shoot for 15k likes on this one for no specific reason.
What are you doing with that? I've never seen that case. Ever since that case was, that knife's been locked away in a locker. On the day that Detective Goodman was murdered, this suddenly disappeared from the locker. And it was found in Mr. Hedgeworth's car muffler. That's it! Now I remember why that incriminating piece of evidence was. When you showed me that knife, it all came back to me. Wait. Well, what is it, Detective? Quick, before you forget again. Let's see. Joe Dark was 42 at the time of the crime. He was just your run-of-the-mill businessman. A businessman? What made him take to serial killing? One day on his way home from work, he hit someone with his car. So... It was an accident? An accident, yes, but it transformed him into an animal. An animal? He killed a man that witnessed the accident. Then he killed the lady who witnessed that one. The kid walked away, so then he killed the kid and hit all the bodies. A jogger came by and he killed him, and finally he turned himself in. Seems like he was a pretty careless animal. Of course, this is all conjecture. There wasn't a single shred of evidence, so he turned himself in. Yes, but in the middle of his question, he fled and murdered his final victim, Prosecutor Marshall. That crime was witnessed by someone too, but luckily for Dark, he was arrested on the spot. It's a good thing that last witness wasn't killed. The last witness? Emma. This knife, it was Joe Dark's, wasn't it? That's right. We traced it back to the store he bought it from, and plus he had his fingerprints on it too. But no one actually witnessed him using it to murder anyone, right? That's where his luck ran out. When you take a good look at this knife, you see it's broken. You don't have to take a good look at it to notice that. Yeah, well anyway, take a guess where the tip of the knife was found. That's what did him in. Where was it? The victim, Neil Marshall, was carrying it inside his own body. The tip broke on when Marshall was killed. Brother Marshall. It was found deep inside the stab wound. It didn't match Dark's knife? You bet, down to the last fiber. That's pretty conclusive. Okay, the switchblade's been activated, and now we get the tip in the record. Well, they have it in a nutshell. That's all I know. Can I ask one more thing? What is it? If it's money, you're gonna have to ask the chief. It's not money, but it does concern the chief. His office is a crime scene, right? Where the prosecutor Neil Marshall... It's where prosecutor Neil Marshall was murdered. The chief's out now, and his office is locked. But we'd like to have a look around if that's okay. Well, any detective's ID card can unlock the door. What, really? But if I haven't let a civilian in there, I could be charged with a breach of trust. Breach of trust? Simply put, I can be canned. Oh.
You could be fired.
I'm sorry, pal. I don't plan on getting fired because of you. How about this ID card? It was Detective Goodman's. That won't work either. The data was deleted on the day he died. Oh. So in other words, Gumshoe is our only chance of getting into the office. I wonder if there's something that we could show him that would make him change his mind. Can I show him this again? About that jar, I think I've seen this somewhere before. Somewhere? Or maybe it's one of those memories people have from previous lives. Must have been... Okay. Something about that makes me feel uneasy. It's like I'm seeing in the chief's office and he's yelling at me. Where could I have seen that before? Maybe I had to show him this picture? There's your little advice of you as a detective. Don't... Okay. Okay, that wasn't what I had to show him. Let's see. What about this one? No, that's not it either. What do I show it? What do I show Gumshoe? Maybe this ID card? That's the ID card record, isn't it? Oh no.
I died.
Yes, there's only one number left to investigate at 4:20 p.m.
Nice.
Yes. Connected Detective Goodman enter the evidence room alongside us. Someone
Okay, I
with
gotta
the
be back.
executive
I'm...
office number. Okay. 7, so many sevens. That's 1 7 too many, Detective. Executive officer. I might have a hunch. Let's see. Need to think this through. What could I give him? Maybe I'll have to come back. Okay. See anything new? Oh, someone's new in Edgeworth's office. I wonder if Edgeworth is back yet. There he is. It looks like he's writing something. What are you doing here? He sure was quick to throw that paper on the floor. Tough day in court, huh? I had to live the past 2 years with rumors of flying around. What's another allegation? It's another allegation to me. Cheer up, Mr. Edgeworth. I'm rooting for you. And that's Edgeworth for you. Always trying to hide his real feelings. So, what do you want? Unlike some people, I don't have all day. No, I don't want to present.
Fuck! God fucking damn it!
What's wrong?
Nothing. It's fine. Keep on
Okay.
fucking dying.
Yeah, let's ask Edgeworth about the blood right in front of his desk here. What? Looks like there was some blood that dripped down here. Judging by your mouth, it is from I'm guessing it's a nosebleed. A nosebleed. Maybe
Dude's
in
been
his
looking at some
wrath.
big ass anime titties.
Maybe in his wrath, Mr. Edgeworth slaps someone for their incompetence. Why does Detective Gumshoe's face come to mind? Aww. You better not slap Gumshoe. Let's ask him about the evidence, the forged evidence. There is no excuse for what I've done. 2 years ago, I used false information to obtain a guilty verdict. That's what it all breaks down to. There's nothing I can do to erase that fact. But you didn't know, did you? I mean, that evidence was falsified. The police department and the prosecutor's office shared a bond of trust. If that bond is broken, we stand to lose everything. The police department's error is my error. My responsibility as prosecutor in charge. That fact remains the same no matter what excuse might have. Mr. Edgeworth, I take pride in my work. So tell me why. Why has it come down to this? Even Edgeworth can't keep this kind of emotion bottled up. Let's examine his stuff here. Now I want to look at the ball that he threw on the ground. I wonder what he was writing before. Come on, Mr. Wright. Let's take a look. Are you crazy? Edgeworth is sitting right here. Just distract him. I'll check it out. Hey, Edgeworth. Is Detective Gumshoe out the window there? Oh no, he's falling to the ground. Hold on. First, let me see what this girl is doing crawling around my feet. He didn't even look. What? A letter of Are you having trouble reading it? I'll read it to you. It says, letter of resignation. Resignation. Edgeworth, you don't mean... I'm tired, right? I feel as if something inside me has died. But Mr. Edgeworth, none of this is your fault. I know, but the path I walked, you don't need to tell me. And the path I've walked hasn't been just one. I can't forgive myself for what I've done. And no one else could forgive me either. Oh no, I think he's serious. Mr. Wright? Please, you have to do something. This letter of resignation. I wonder if I can use it for anything. Tomorrow's trial? Are you up for the trial tomorrow? First last year's trial, and now this one. It seems like all you do is worry about me. To be honest, you're getting on my nerves. Edgeworth, come on. But Mr. Edgeworth, you can't just walk out of the trial. Tomorrow's the last day. It's too late to change prosecutors. I'll bet what everyone in my superiors are banking on. I never thought that this case would come back to haunt me like this. What do you mean? The list of evidence seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. It's only half as long as most lists. That's odd. After Neil Marshall's murder, I became prosecutor for that case. It may not have been my part of investigation, but I knew what I had to do. Use the evidence I was given to prove the suspect's guilty. That was really the only thing I had on my mind at the time. Say, we just saw a picture taking around that time. That picture, something does seem strange about it. Showing this one? This picture was hanging on the wall of Chief Gant's office. Prosecutor Neil Marshall had just been starting to make a name for himself. Looks like the picture was taken when he received the King of Prosecutors trophy.
I hate this mission already.
Oh no.
I hate walking the dog.
Oh no. Speaking of that, there's something that bothers me about that. Yes? The trophy Mr. Marshall
I died, Tina.
It's a little different than yours. Yeah, you're right. I remember now. Remember what? That was what the official prosecutor's trophy looked like until 2 years ago. The story behind it is the design. A story? Sounds interesting. Would you mind telling us? It's simple, really. Contradiction. That's what the award's based on. Okay, I can't ask him about the jar. Let's talk about day of the crime. Can you tell us again about what happened that day? The day Detective Goodman was murdered. You participating in the ceremony right over at the station, right? I never cared for ceremonies, but I had to attend that one. Because you were awarded this? Those receiving awards can't exactly skip out on the ceremony. I finished up at the office in the morning and then drove over to the police department. You finished up at the office? Yes, just odds and ends. I didn't plan on returning to the office that day. That is until I was asked to take something back. Take something back? This. Oh yeah, Chief Gant asked you to hold onto that screwdriver, didn't he? Yes. It was a piece of evidence in that case that was closed half a year ago. He asked me to bring it back to the prosecutor's office. What's the story we heard yesterday? You came back to the prosecutor's office because the chief asked you to? That's right. The trophy? This award originates from an ancient Chinese tale. In Chinese, the sword contradiction was written with two characters. First one means halberd, and the second one means shield. Have you heard this story?
I can feel it breathing down my neck.
What?
This is a quote for a quest step. I'm walking a dog and the quote says, I can feel it breathing on my neck.
I'm sure. Oh, sure, everyone knows about that. Why don't you tell it through for Emma's sake?
Come on. You can get me. Come on.
Okay.
I believe you can get me.
Long ago, the kingdom of Shu,
Long ago, the four kingdoms lived together in harmony.
Then the Flavor Nation attacked.
Long ago, the four flavors lived in harmony. Then everything changed when the Flavor Nation attacked.
There was an arms merchant. One day, he presented the king with two items. The first was a halberd, and he claimed they could slice through anything for a shield or armor. The second he brought was a shield he claimed could withstand any weapon. Wait a minute. Whose claims contradict each other? Very perceptive, but then again, you've heard the story before, right? Anyway, as you mentioned, the two descriptions of these items discredit both of them. When the king pointed it out, the merchant was left speechless. Thus, the Chinese word of contradiction was born. Oh, I see. So the chip off the shield and the broken knife symbolized... Precisely so. They symbolize the merchant's items. The ancient tale ends with the merchant at a loss for words. But it's our nature to pursue matters to their own conclusion. Even if something as ugly as this. Wow, thanks Mr. Edgeworth, I learned something new today. That's funny. If that's so, then why were you only given a shield? You'll have to ask Chief Gant. 2 years ago, he had the halberd part of the award abolished. Chief Gant. Oh, something's changed down here, I think. Excuse me. Would either of you care for a quarter pound of roast beef? Miss Star!
No, stop it, Lion's Choice Lady.
I guess she's out of lunches. You certainly are curious, sort, aren't you? Kind of like the first person who
Can this hoe leave us alone?
Wait, what? Kind of like the first person who sucked a cow's nipple to discover milk.
Who the fuck? Who in the fuck?
Star, what are you doing, lady? Still, I never thought you'd go digging up that case 20 years ago. Everyone at the trial was involved in the SL9 incident. Not only that, but the murder occurred at the very same day at the evidence from the case was due for transferal. This can't be attributed to a mere coincidence. Aren't you forgetting something? You know, that little scene I happened to witness? The instant when Lana stabbed Detective Goodman with a knife. No matter how much the past you dig up, it won't change what I saw. Roast beef is meant to be savored when eaten. Miss Star's hatred toward Lana. It all dates back to 2 years ago. Let's talk about the Dark investigation. Joe Dark. That's a name I'll not soon forget.
Oh, not this fool again.
I know, right? We trailed him for half a year. Oh, the pressure. Still, I don't think I was ever more alive than I was then. Those days were
This bitch
steamier than a
crazy.
bowl of hot gravy. Hot gravy.
Was it gay Steve Harvey?
Guess. Poor old Jake Marshall. Though it hasn't been going must have been going for hell. You mean because of his brother's death? They were close, those two. After Neil died, something took over Jake. He became obsessed.
In the gay bee.
Seeing Jake like that made her all the more desperate. Her. Lana Sky.
Oh, I just realized I had problems with Motor Mama's fight to begin with. I'm gonna have more problems now.
Ooh. Hey, sister. The best of the best were put on that I almost called it DL6 SL9 case. Of course, they were led by
The
the legendary.
Despacito case.
I know.
I'm joking. I really
Lana-
hate that meme
She's
too.
got-
Don't worry. I really hate that meme too. So don't worry.
Okay. Let's see. The legendary pair was the reason that we were able to keep up our investigation. That's why we looked so shocked at how it turned out. You mean with the forging of evidence? Don't get me wrong, Joe Dark got what he deserved. Still, it was obvious that the evidence produced in court was being manipulated. Items our team never found would suddenly appear, while the other items were kept secret. But you don't have proof anything illegal was done. I'm proof enough of what happened. After that case, all of us save Goodman were relieved of our duties. Most without even much as an explanation. Then Lana Sky was transferred to the prosecutor's office and became chief prosecutor. Lana always wanted to be a prosecutor. Nothing's quite as simple as it appears. Huh? Lana Sky was merely being used as a pawn. That's my take on the matter. She was being used? Wait. Talk to her about the duo thing. Damon Gant and Lana Sky. Gant led the investigation with Lana in second command. They were the best. They solved all kinds of cases together, didn't they? Damon Gant's magnetism is was almost unreal. Magnetism? What do you mean? By that, his ability to attract evidence. He produced the most incredible evidence in the cases he handled. Incredible evidence? You don't mean... Oh yes, there were rumors about him even back then. No one dared confront him, though. I'll take it that she's talking about the forged evidence. Back then, everyone looked up to Lana. All the detectives wanted to be like her. Really? Oh yes, myself included. I was a fool, really. She hated anything crooked and always watched out for the other detectives. That's why she was so concerned for Jake.
Rise from your grave.
Mr. Marshall. When Jake's brother was murdered, she felt as if she had lost her own brother. If it wasn't for her, I don't think Jake would have ever recovered from his shock. That's what makes it all the more infuriating. Miss Starr. That's why I'll never be able to forgive her. Why does she have to turn so cold after that? Lana transferred to the prosecutor office 2 years ago, didn't she? Yes, thanks to Jigen's powerful influence. Chief. That's right. Having solved the SL9 case, his position as chief was secured. There was only one thing for him to control, and then no one could stand in his way. The prosecutor's office. What? What do you mean? That's why Lana was transferred? If he could get control of the chief prosecutor, he could control the prosecutor's office. That must have been his goal all along. But how could he control Lana? I don't know, but one thing's for sure. Ever since that case ended, she's never been the same. It's only logical to conclude there must have been a reason for her change. At last, I'm finally getting closer to the bottom of this ugly mess. Thank you, Miss Starr. You listen to me, Ricky. It takes more than just ingredients to create fine cuisine. I hope it turned out to be a better chef than I've been.
I love Torg. He's just that guy who shouts at the top of his lungs.
Oh wait. I think I know what I need to do to get... I think I know what I could do to have Gumshoe let me look at the office. Gumshoe, are you here? Oh, you're back. You're still here? I gotta make 150 copies of these files. Brewing coffee, copying files. They're turning me into a regular DJ. You're a DJ as well? Emma, come on. If I'm not mistaken, I think he means a desk jockey. Oh, that DJ.
Oh my gosh. Emma, you're cute and you're adorable. But for the love of God.
I gotta admire your persistency, but my answer's still no. I'm not letting you in the chief's office, period. It'll be my neck on the line. That office is the last crime scene of the SL9 incident. I have to look in there. There's gotta be something we can do to make the detective change his mind. Here, I got something I'd like to show you. Edgeworth's letter of resignation. What's this criminal piece of paper? No way! Mr. Edgeworth can't be serious! Is he ever not serious? I can't believe it! They've pushed him this far? Mr. Edgeworth really feels responsible. When I first met him, I thought he was as cold as ice too. But I know different now. He trusted us detectives to provide him with sound evidence. But we just You betrayed him. Detective? That's it. I've made up my mind. But... Here, take my ID card. We can't do that if someone found out. We wouldn't let you off the hook with another lost item report. Look at me. It's no secret I'm already out of the loop. After all, I'm friends with Mr. Edgeworth. Depending on how this case turns out, I may already be as good as terminated. What? So at least let me do this for Mr. Edgeworth's sake. Okay, alright, Detective. Thank you. Oh, Gumshoe! Oh, I want to hug Gumshoe so bad.
Gungshoe.
Gumshoe.
This is your boy Gungshoe.
Back to the pipe organ office. Here goes nothing, Mr. Wright. Click. Beep, beep, beep. We're in. If anyone finds us now, Detective Gumshoe's a goner. If that happens, I'm counting on you to bail me out. Eek! What? Did you just hit Gumshoe again, Emma? Sorry, I thought you were a ghost. He didn't even
That
know you
ain't
could
gonna help you.
Gumshoe, I didn't even know you can slap a ghost. Ah, Detective Gumshoe. What are you doing sneaking up on us like that? I wasn't sneaking. I was just wondering if something might go wrong. So I came too. If you're up here, that's what the point of giving... If you're up here, then what's the point of you giving us your ID card? Gumshoe's ID card crushed and rendered unusable in pocket. Hey, don't do that to my card. I hardly ever get a chance to come in here. So I figured I'd have a look around myself. Besides, we're all in this together now. You're right. We'll do what we can. Do you really want to get fired, don't you? Not if we're lucky. Come on, let's see if we can find out. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Okay, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Let's look at the picture again. This was taken on that day 2 years ago. The day Joe Dark ran out of the questioning room and tried to kill Emma. After receiving this award trophy, Mr. Marshall
I gotta
took
get
a
going.
picture here. Okay.
I'll be back.
Alright.
Hi, it's currently 2:45 p.m. The temperature outside.
There then went along with the chief began to question Dark. But I bet he never knew he was be dead in just a few hours later. Gee, you think? These shelves are mostly empty. Lana must have cleaned them out when she transferred the prosecutor's office. There's a small picture on the frame on the left shelf. Hey! This is when Lana and I went to that theme park. Is that a stained glass window? At least the top part kind of looks stained glass. Look at that giant window. Kind of makes you want to crash through it and jump outside. This is the 15th floor. I know, I'm just saying. Saying what? Ever since making Detective, I always dreamed about doing something like that. Note to self, Detective Gumshoe has a lot of dreams. As long as he doesn't go crashing through that window when he gets fired. Don't say that! This was Lana's desk. It sure is tidy. Lana always has been a meticulous cleaner. There's not even any dust on it. It looks like someone's been keeping it clean. Does Lana ever come back here? No? Chief Gam must still be keeping it clean in memory of their partnership. They were the stuff legends are made of. Does he keep in memory of... Does he keep it in memory of her, or just in memory of the crime? The pipe organ. The cheese organ sure is a sight to behold. Occasionally, I hear him playing it for the Criminal Affairs Department. That's on the second floor, and this is the 15th floor of an entirely different building. Even when a detective screws up, the chief calls him to the office and makes him listen to this pipe organ for hours. What's so bad about that? He just seems the soul. Maybe he's not that good of a player. After that, the detective can't hear anything for days except the ringing in their ears. Oh, so it's audio torture. Got it. So it's an instrument of punishment, literally. But aren't the chief's ears affected? He never listens to anyone anyway. That's besides the point. This is the real deal, isn't it? This armor and these weapons? Sure as pal, the chief doesn't care for imitations. First the pipe organ, now this armor. Do you know how many taxpayer dollars must have gone into this room? What? Are you mean we're paying for this? That's it, I'm not paying any cent to my taxes. You don't have any taxes to pay, you're 16! Be careful of what you say. Who knows, the chief might be hiding in this armor as we speak. I don't think he'd fit in there. Yeah, he's quite the tubby guy. Even if he did, he'd never be able to get back out. Okay, you guys don't know how scary that guy can be. What about this window? Hey, that's pretty far from 15 stories. You can see pretty far from 15 stories up. If you were to drop that suit of armor, it'd probably be the first the chief wanted to get used to the stained glass window. Really? Why didn't he? He said he changed his mind because we wouldn't be able to see the view. Oh. Stained glass or not, it's a huge window. This is a safe. Yeah, a safe. That word is ripe with intrigue. Okay, if you say so. It looks like the code needs to be entered into this panel to open it. A 7-digit number. I think I might know what it is. Yeah, let's not touch it just yet. Not sure what would happen if I enter the wrong code. I better wait until I find something a little bit more defined. Or definitive. 7-digit number. Where did we see one of those somewhere? How about try entering in my dear birth date? I want to look at his desk. Wow, look at the size of the Chief Gant's desk. Speaking of that, when we got in here earlier... What did he do? The chief. He put that paper he was reading in his desk. I wonder what he was reading. This looks like a list of evidence. A list of evidence? In most cases, the list runs twice as long as itself. Hey, look at the case name. Huh? SL9 incident. Wonder what that's doing here. Hold on, detective. What did you just say? I said I wonder what... No, about the evidence list. Normally they're twice as long? That's right. I guess there wasn't a lot of evidence. A half list of evidence. List of evidence seems too short. Most lists run twice as long. What would the other half of the list be doing here? I knew it. The chief must be hiding something about that case. It would appear so. Size of the desk is huge. Found this in the drawer. List of evidence from the SL9 incident. Mr. Edgeworth has the other half of the list. What would this list be doing here? We better look into this more. Wait. Can I look at the two halves? Whoa. I wonder what this is. It looks like someone drew some kind of sketch here. What is it? Did you find something? I can't make it out. I better keep it quiet about it for now. Oh no, it's nothing. Why are your eyes moving like that, Mr. Wright? I better not forget about this picture. Let's see. Let's get in the casino now. Right, skip past this dialogue. We'll try typing in 7 all the way. Do you know what it is? I have a hunch. Oh, I know. You want to try my birthday? It's... I have a better idea. Here goes nothing. Code confirmed. Access granted. Bingo. What number did you enter? Whose birthday is that, pal? 7777. That's the final ID card on that record. What? That number of the mysterious executive officer who entered the room that day. You mean 77777? That ID number? I think you're 1-7 shy this time. This can only mean one thing. That's Chief Gant's number. Say, anyone care to look inside? Let's talk to him about the chief. The desk on the other side of the room was that your sister's? Yes, this is where I was waiting for Lana on that day 2 years ago. Is anyone using it now? No, sir. This is entirely the chief's office now. He appreciates a strict policy of preserving the crime scene. That's a strange reason to leave it. He leaves it as a warning to anyone else. He wants us to always be alert. He told us so himself at our New Year's party. Of course, he was pretty intoxicated at the time. I see. So ever since Lana left, no one ever touches that desk? No one except the chief and the cleaning lady who's in here each morning. Still, 2 years have passed since that incident. There can't possibly be any clues remaining. Let's look again. See, doesn't look like it's being illuminated without a check mark. Talk of him, British Chief. Can I ask you something? Sure. You only came here to look around, right? Because of one of those SL9 crime scenes? I mean, it's your only reason for coming up here, isn't it? Why do you ask? I don't think... you don't think... Nah, no, it couldn't be. No. Oh no, Gumshoe. There's no way. Never mind. Don't worry about it. Okay. Now then, we'll have a look around a bit more. Hey, hold on. Not so fast, buddy. Huh. What is it? When someone tells you don't worry about it, it means you're supposed to start bothering, pal. You don't just let it go like that. Sorry, this guy's starting to get on my nerves. Okay, so what's bothering you? You two don't think... Chief Gant... He might be a suspect, do you? What? He's right, Mr. Wright. What do we think of him? Chief Gant. So it's finally come to this. What do I think of him? Perhaps it's best I don't divulge my feelings yet. There you go, ignoring me again. Oh. Is there any money in there? How much does he have stashed away? Look, it's it's a shard of a broken cup? It somehow looks familiar, like we've seen it before. There's something else in here too. What is this? This looks like a piece of leather cloth. This is a handprint, isn't it? Hey, I saw someone wearing a shirt like that once. You think the chief made up the design? I don't think so. Oh, well, it was just a thought. What is all that was in the safe? Apparently, so it's empty now. A piece of cloth with a handprint on it, and a broken shard from the cup. They look like pieces of evidence. No, but unless you can prove that they have something to do with the case, I'm afraid I can't let you take them. After all, my neck is on the line here. Great, now you have to prove the relevancy to get them. How are these two related to the case? Come on, there's gotta be something we can show the detective. Yeah. Detective Gumshoe, could you have another look at this jar? Remember when the three of us were back together and we put it back together? Those were the days. Kinda early to be nostalgic. Wasn't this the jar of the evidence room? Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the shards that had the SL9 incident sticker on it. Doesn't it ring any bells? You know that fragment we just found? You mean this one that was in the safe? Yeah, that one. That was in the safe. Now you're getting it, Gumshoe? Now that you mention it, it's ringing a lot of bells. Let's see if it fits. Yeah, let me see if it fits. We'll take a crack at it. Go ahead, pal. Show us whatever you can do. Mr. Wright, here's some glue. If I can piece this together again, I can prove that the chief was knowingly hiding evidence. Here goes. There we go. There. It fits like a charm. That, of course, means the chief is willingly and knowingly hiding hid a piece of this jar in his safe. In other words, he concealed this piece of evidence from the SL9 incident. But, hey guys, get a load of this. What is it? This piece you just attached? It's different from the others. What do you mean? There's a reddish line on it. A reddish line? That's blood. I don't get it. Why would the chief hide this in his safe? If I'm fired, I won't be able to give you any information, so I need to leave that. So I hope you understand. Okay, who am I fooling? Gotta say positive. Okay, that isn't. Look at this. Hey, I know what that is. So you want to take some fingerprints? Great idea, detective. Alright. Alright. Good. Okay. Dots. What are you doing? Why aren't you sticking your hand out like that? Go ahead, take my fingerprints. Oh. No, it's not your fingerprints we wanted to take. Huh? Come on, this isn't the time for jokes. Oops. Whoops. We're talking about that cloth we found in the safe. Oh. Oh. I knew that. The one with the handprint on it, right? Sheesh. Where's your sense of humor? Okay, Mr. Wright, let's check the footprints. Sprinkle the powder on the cloth. Then, once they've been absorbed into the prints, blow the rest away. What are you, my mom? I don't have to be told a million times. Alright, let's get this over with. I gave it my best shot. This kind of result won't be any good if we don't have any mesh prints, but it doesn't look like we can get a cleaner result from this print. Alright, let's try a different finger then. Try this one. No, I didn't mean to do that. I meant to... There we go. Wait. Yes. These look like Emma's. No. How could this be? What are Emma's fingerprints doing on here? Hey, you found a match? Whose fingerprints are they anyway? Huh? Oh, it seems these prints are too old. They aren't clear enough to get a match. Oh, that's too bad. I thought they'd be Dark's fingerprints. Hey, you, over here. What's going on there? What are that kid's fingerprints doing on the inside of the safe? Don't ask me. Just keep this information from Emma for now. Here, maybe you should hold on to this. Was I any help? Of course. Thanks to your ID card, we were able to get some hard evidence. Now, that's not very kind, is it? In other words, if it wasn't for his ID card, he would have been useless. Isn't that right, you in the coat? Eek! Chief Gant. We didn't think you'd be back so soon. Fortunately, I am a man who believes in signs. As we were walking to my meeting, we happened to look out a window and we saw a stray dog run into a pool. Then I thought of a certain detective. Me, sir? Now then, I'm afraid you're going to have to ask. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to ask all of you to leave. Yes, sir. Sorry. Oh, and you in the coat? Me, sir? Drop off your ID on the way. You won't be needing it anymore. But, sir. Now get out. Yes, sir. We'll be on our way too then. Wait. You, the one without the spiky hair. Don't go yet. Me, sir? I like a word with you. But, sir, I'm not a licensed scientific investigator yet. You with the spiky hair, you're free to go. Mr. Wright? Look, pal, if I've told you once, I told you 1,000 times. The chief's office is off limits. But no, you just had to go sneak in there like that, didn't you? I thought you said you didn't care anymore if you were fired. Yeah, but if I knew it'd be like this, I never would have said it. Now that I've seen the evidence Chief Gant was hiding in his office, I think I'm starting to see the picture. But why has she kept eerily silent about it all this time? Anyway, you listen to me. I'm going to try to smooth things over with the chief again. Later, pal. After that, I heard from Emma. She said the police wanted to ask her some questions. So she'll be busy for the rest of the day. I see. So the chief asked Emma to come in for questioning. There's no use thinking about it. Tomorrow is the final day of court. I'm committed to do everything I can to defend you, which is why I'm here. But I've already told you I can't. You told me over these last couple of days is absolutely nothing. Not a single useful thing. Really. I believe I did mention something quite important. Something I told you at the beginning. I said that I was the one who stabbed Detective Goodman. You know, I think I finally figured it out. I know who it is that's lurking behind your words. Mia did a good job mentoring you. I'm rather jealous. It seems Edgeworth is right. Edgeworth? Once you're convinced you know something, no one else can persuade you otherwise. Thick-headed is the term he used, I believe. Now it's my chance to get me to tell me to get the rest of the story. Why are you keeping quiet? I have to admit, I was more than a little perplexed at first. You insisted that you did it, yet there was no incriminating evidence. Then, when it hit me, it's not that you were unwilling to tell the truth, it was that you were incapable of doing so, because of a certain individual. What an intruding notion. A certain individual, you say. So, you think person? Protecting? No, I think afraid of is more like it. If I'm not mistaken, the person in question may have persuaded you to stay silent. For argument's sake, Mr. Wright, whom may I ask is this person you're speaking of? I'm the one who's supposedly frightened of. What is this person's name? I say you're scared of this guy. Well, Miss Guy? Mr. Wright, you are addressing the chief prosecutor. Do not forget your place. She's taking this... I take it she's still in that raid as 50 years ago. I respect him as a detective. Assuming he is respectable, then tell me something. Why would you go hiding his crimes? His crimes? Both you and Edgeworth were brought before a board of inquiry for what you did. Specifically, hiding and forging evidence. Of course, these are serious offenses. Why is it, though, that Chief Gant's name was never mentioned? Chief Gant? Edgeworth did not know about behind the forgery. The only party who has responsible tampering with the evidence was me. I had access because I was second in command of that investigation. But you and one other person, Damon Gant. If you intend to accuse Chief Gant, you better need more than words. Show me proof that he was falsifying evidence in that case. I just found this in a safe in the chief's office. This jar, this piece of cloth, and you know what these are? These are pieces of evidence from the SL9 incident. The person concealing the evidence was none other than the chief himself. Now tell me, why are you taking all the blame for him? Touché, Mr. Wright. It is as you summarized. I cannot disobey the chief's orders. Even if it means being found guilty for murder. Why not? Come now, Mr. Wright. You can't possibly expect me to be able to tell you that. 3 days ago, I had no choice but to cooperate. Murder Detective Goodman? Or perhaps I should just say follow orders. Yes, that's more accurate. That's more accurate than cooperate. Tell me about your orders. Although I can't tell you the details, I could say that I was given an order that day. I need you to dispose of Bruce Goodman's body. I need you to find it in... You'll need to find it inside the trunk of Mr. Edgeworth's car. Just as I suspected. Despite what everyone believes, you were not the one who murdered Detective Goodman. Correct. I was trying to take the body out of Edgeworth's car. The trunk lock was broken. And then I discovered that the murder weapon was inspecting the body. The murder weapon, you mean Edward's knife? No. When I found the body, this was the knife stuck in it. The knife from SL9 incidents? The serial killer Joe Dark's knife. I couldn't just leave that knife in him. I took it out and I stabbed him with another knife. So, that would be Mr. Edgeworth's knife? That's right. So Goodman was already dead when she stabbed him. She did it to cover the murder. She did it to cover up the chief's crime. Even though he was already dead, my hands were shaking at the thought that I was stabbing him. That's why I ended up cutting my hand. And that's the reason for the bandage on your hand. Yes, it seems that I got blood on the victim's shoes as well. And then she saw me as I plunged the knife into him. A star. Why did you need to hide Dark's knife so badly? It took a lot of work to finally close the Dark case about 2 years ago. It was over with. I didn't ever want to be opened again. My intent was to prevent that, but for whatever means possible, so you hid Dark's knife. The weapon that was used to stab the detective in the evidence room in the Joe Dark case. If word got out, which it would, the reporters would have a field day with that. So you wrapped the knife in your scarf and hid it in Edgeworth's exhaust pipe. Right. Then I called my sister to tell her what had happened and to ask her to hide the knife that was inside my muffler. You asked Emma? I didn't want anyone on the force to know about this. That would explain why Emma is so confident about Lana's innocence. Speaking of phone calls, I had a bad feeling about one of them that day. A bad feeling? The truth is, after I received those orders from Chief Gant, the first thing I did was make a phone call. A phone call to Patrolman Jake Marshall. To Marshall? Why on earth would you call him? The lead investigator for the SL9 incident had been murdered. I wanted that fact to be kept hidden, so I needed help. He was the only other person I could trust, or at least I thought I could trust him at the time. However, it seems that when I spoke to him, he went off on an escape on his own. Really? What do you mean? Not wanting the case to die, he decided to take things into his own hands. He disguised himself as Detective Goodman and tried to steal the evidence. He had already stolen the ID card, but it seems he hadn't made up his mind to break into the evidence room. After my phone call, any remaining doubts he had had must have disappeared. The phone call caused the incident in the evidence room? I'm afraid that's all I can tell you. But Lana, you've earned my respect, Mr. Wright, both as a defense attorney and as an investigator. Now please, don't pursue this any further in court tomorrow. Tomorrow's trial? There's only one way I could drive off Lana's demons. I gotta get to the bottom of everything. Detective Goodman's real murderer. And what went down in the chief's office 2 years ago? Yes, let's save this time. I'm gonna stop playing this for now, guys. I need to eat something. And I probably have to leave relatively soon too, so I should probably get things ready. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye!